Welcome back to episode 31 of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. This week we'll be recapping round 10 of the 2025 motocross season from Unadilla. Some great racing in both classes, including Jet wrapping up the 450 championship this past weekend. But first, let's dive into the 250s. Looking at the 250 class, and things look like they have for the past several weeks here. Joe Shimoda and Hayden Deegan looking fast yet again. Joe Shimoda taking the overall on the day, going 1-1. Moto 1, he made some crazy passes out of the gate. He had some really high intensity, and then he just absolutely ran away with that moto. He was up by 41 seconds at one point. Backed it down late. I believe he still won by like 38 seconds. It was unbelievable to see the intensity that Joe had. It was like Roxon first lap-esque. It was one of those type of rides where he just gets by everybody immediately. Keen almost to Jet in the second moto last week, where he just all of a sudden, poof, he was in the lead. Moto 2, he made a great pass on Tom and ran away yet again. A good start in both motos this week, as we have seen from Joe later in the season here. He was more methodical in Moto 2, but he did win again by quite a ways. Second place on the afternoon, Hayden Deegan going 2-3 on the day. Moto 1, he had a top 5 start and did move forward, but he was way too far back to make a push on Joe by the time he got into second. Moto 2, he didn't have a great start, and he did make some passes, but once he got into third, he knew he didn't need to push. He definitely was not catching Joe anyway, and the way that the math would work out, he would have had to tie Joe on points for the day to clinch the championship anyway, so he made a smart move there to hang out in third and not push there for no reason. Third place, we're going to have the same podium as last week as this week. Tom Vial going 4-2 on the afternoon. Whole shot at both motos. In Moto 1, it was the second week in a row that he only really lost ground to Joe and Deegs. Seth Hamaker did get him there after he was leading a bit in Moto 1. Moto 2 is probably his strongest ride since his return with his second place, and this is the best to me that he's looked all season. He definitely used, those few weeks that he had off, and then plus the 2-week break, to kind of build himself back up. So really good to see that from Tom Vial and see some of the potential that we've been looking for, those flashes of. Obviously, the thought here is that he's going to go back to MXGP next year. So really cool to kind of wind down Tom Vial's 250 career, with some good motos. Fourth place on the afternoon, Seth Hamaker going 3-6 on the day. Moto 1, he had a great start. It was a very strong moto for him. Another good start in Moto 2, and probably his best overall ride of the season. He did miss the podium for third overall when Hayden got him, so he did go for fourth place on the day, but a really good ride yet again from Seth Hamaker. Fifth place, Juju Bomer, 6-4. Really good to see Juju back up here. His starts are back. He's riding back to his potential. We know that he got contacts last week, and he can see the track now. That's something he probably should have looked at a while ago. But again, really just some good starts on the day. Probably the best ride of the season for Juju there in Moto 2. He held strong for fourth place and held off Garrett Marchbanks there late in that moto. We know Garrett is pushing late in these motos strong, and so a really good ride there by Juju. Sixth place is Garrett Marchbanks. He went 5-5 on the afternoon. Moto 1, bad start, made plenty of passes. Stop me if you've heard this before, doing what he does week in and week out. Both motos, the same story can be written for Garrett Marchbanks every weekend, to be quite honest, and he's always in that top 5. So again, a good ride there for G. Seventh on the afternoon, Jordan Smith, putting together 2 motos finally inside the top 10, going 8-9 on the day. He raced forward in both motos. He had a really good battle with Harrop in Moto 1 until Harrop did crash there. So again, 2 solid motos for Jordan Smith. Really good to see him inside that top 10. Eighth place on the day was Ryder DeFrancisco, 11-8 on the day. He was kind of invisible. He was in the back of the pack in both motos, but well within that top 10. So really good day for Ryder D there. Probably a momentum builder there. Ninth place on the day, Nate Thrasher going 13-7. Nate was kind of invisible in Moto 1 and Moto 2, top 7. I believe this was his best moto of the season. If not, I think he may have finished around 6th at a couple races early in the year. But again, probably one of the best overall days there for Nate Thrasher with 9th. 10th place, Levi Kitchen going 10-10 on the afternoon. I'm kind of out of things to say for Levi. These last couple weeks have not gone well for him. Moto 1 was whatever. He did look much better in Moto 2 and was trying to make a pass for fourth place on Seth Hamaker when he crashed late and lost some spots. So at least maybe some flashes there for Levi in Moto 2. 11th place, Caden Dudney, the debut for him, going 7:13 on the day. Moto 1, really good start, and he rode incredibly strong in that Moto to hang on to 7th in his debut. Moto 2, yet again, he was riding great. I believe he was in 7th or 8th again and had a crash and did lose some spots late, but a really good debut for Caden Dudney. 12th place, Max Volan, 12:17 on the day. Did not see much of Max, truthfully. 13th, Ty Masterpool, going 9:20 on the day. He's right back into being one of the fast guys. You could see that in Moto 1. He had a tip over, but he did race back forward into the top 10. And in Moto 2, I think he had a rough start, fought his way back to 20th. But this is kind of the story that we've seen all season with Ty Masterpool, which is one good moto, one bad moto. So that has not changed here in his return. 14th place, Lux Turner, going 19:11 on the day. 11th is really impressive in Moto 2 for Lux Turner. 15th overall, Drew Adams, 18:12 on the day. Really rough moto scores considering how good he was last week. Going into this week as well, being the fast qualifier, 18:12 is not where he wanted to finish after last week's 5th. 16th overall, Austin Forkner, 17:14 on the day. Rough day there from Forkner. 17th, Matthias Boisramé, 15:18 on the day. Kid from France came over last weekend. Another good weekend this weekend. Better moto scores there for him. 18th overall, Dylan Schwartz, 14:38 on the day. Not great for Schwartz. We know how good he can be when he's putting it all together. 19th, Avery Long, 27:15 on the day. 20th, Brody Connolly, 16:21, the Australian champion on the 250. Coming over, 21st, Parker Ross, 31:16 on the day. Not sure what happened there in Moto 1, but 31:16, not where we want to see Ross, a guy who can finish top 10 in motos and has proved that time after time this season. 22nd, Daxton Bennick, scoring points this week, 28:19. 23rd, Gage Linville, going 20:26 on the day. Good return for Linville, scoring points at least. 24th, Colin Park, 21:25. And joining, unfortunately, our 0 points club, Cole Davies, making his motocross debut, pro motocross debut, going 23:23 on the day. He was in point scoring positions in both motos and did drop back. Didn't see much of him on TV. Not sure if they were crashes or if he just didn't have the fitness. We know he is returning a bit early from the crash that he had at the end of Supercross there, so he may not be fully in shape yet. 2 more 0 points guys. Mikkel Harrop went 37 DNS. We saw Harrop in a good battle with Jordan Smith, and then we saw him laid out on the side of the track. He does have a broken collarbone and is going to be done for the rest of the season. And then, unfortunately, Michael Mosman, 40 DNS. We did see a huge crash kind of going viral right now from Michael Mosman. Obviously concussed and completely beat up. So really rough to see that for Michael Mosman, and not sure what the future holds for him going forward after a crash like that, and considering some of the crashes that he's had in the past and the way that his career has gone there. Really sucks after having a podium earlier this year and how well he was riding, especially in Supercross. So TBD on Michael Mosman. The points championship, Hayden Deegan has 460 points. Joe Shimoda is 43 points back. Hayden will essentially just have to finish one moto next week inside the top 15 to wrap up that championship, which we fully expect to happen there. Jumping over to the 450 class, as I referenced earlier, Jet Lawrence did wrap up the championship, going 1-1 on the day for yet another overall win this season. Moto 1, he was top 5 off the start and made some just ridiculous passes. He got into the lead and then went off the track, and then he got right by RJ yet again and just did his thing out front, as we are used to seeing from Jet Lawrence. Moto 2 may have been even better. He started in 4th place and went to first immediately. Within 2 turns, he was in the lead. It even caught the commentators off guard how quickly Jet set up those passes. He did fight off a really good battle from Hunter and then kind of put the hammer down and won there by about 10 seconds, as we are used to seeing Jet do. Second place on the day yet again. It's really cool to see these guys going 1-2, not only in the overall but on the season at this point. Hunter Lawrence 2-2 on the day. Second on start in Moto 1, and just kind of did what he does. He's the most consistent guy out there. He is one of the most solid guys out there. He's turning into this Ryan Dungey diesel type guy. Moto 2, he hole-shotted and got passed by Jet, but he did, again, have some really tough battles with Jet there until Jet decided kind of to put the hammer down. But really good riding there by Hunter Lawrence. 2-2 on the day. The same moto scores that he had last week, of course, when he won the overall. So, Hunter just continuing to do what he does and extending that top 5 overall streak. He, again, has still never finished outside the top 5 overall. And I believe 21 450 starts. It's just an unbelievable stat. And obviously outside of, maybe Jet Lawrence being a freak here, Hunter Lawrence would be the story to talk about. Third place, again, Eli Tomac, 3-3 on the day. He had an okay start in Moto 1, and he made some really good passes to move forward, and he just couldn't get up to close the gap to Hunter. The top 3 there were gone, but there was quite a bit of a gap between Jet and Hunter and Eli. Moto 2 was similar. He did make some really strong passes, but again, just didn't have anything for Hunter there. Fourth place overall, RJ Hampshire backing up last week's second with a fourth, going 4-5 on the day. He had a great start in Moto 1 and led laps. Obviously, Jet got around him there a few times, but he looked really good in Moto 1. Did not see much of him in Moto 2, but that fifth place finish, really strong there for RJ. Really glad to see him continue to put in these top 5 moto scores. Of course, we've lost the likes of Aaron Plessinger and other guys that had fit into that top 5, but it's really good to see RJ kind of take that spot there. Fifth place, Justin Cooper, 6-4 on the day. Not a great start in Moto 1, but he did ride forward. Moto 2, he had a much better start and had some really good intensity. He did get passed there late by Eli Tomac, who was just on a tear in that moto, as we've seen countless times from Eli through his career. Sixth place, I think I said this last week, Dylan, Malcolm, and Barsha are kind of the same guy, and same thing this week, 6, 7, 8, Dylan Ferrandis, Malcolm Stewart, Justin Barsha. Ferrandis went 7-6 on the day, Malcolm went 10-7, and Barsha went 9-8 on the day. Not much about those guys, solid riding, about where they belong. Ninth place, Kyle Webster, a much better moto scores after last week's 19 DNS. He goes 8-9 this week. Really good riding there by Kyle Webster. Beat some really good guys to finish in ninth. 10th place, Valentin Guillaume, 11-10 on the day. Did not see much of many of these guys in the back half of this top 10, truthfully. 11th place, Cody Schock, went 12-11 on the day. Again, about where we've seen him on the year. He was up front early in Moto 1, and we've kind of just seen this, up front early and fades back, or starts in 10th and finishes in 10th type of thing from Cody Schock. And he's been, again, about in that range, but really good to see him riding so strong. 12th place, Jorge Prado, 15-12. Such a promising week last week, and just, again, kind of falling back into that struggle this week. He did hole shot in Moto 1 and faded back, of course, to 15th, which is really hurts to see. I'm not sure if he went down or what the deal was there. Moto 2, he had a bad start and did fight his way forward at least to get to 12th. So I kind of out of things to say, truthfully, about Jorge Prado there. 13th on the day, Ken Roczen making his return, going 5:38. Just awesome to see him mix it up with the guys inside the top 5 and show that he can still run that pace whenever he feels like it. He just walks into the series and gets a top 5 in his first moto. We saw it a few years ago at High Point. We saw last year when he bounced into the 250 class and maybe didn't have quite the success. But Ken Roczen on a 450 and doing what he does. Moto 2, he was riding well again inside the top 10. I think he was actually around 8th, and he pulled off late. He did say that he was just getting tired. He was kind of worried that he would make a mistake to re-injure his ankle there, that of course he has had surgery on recently, so he did not want to chance it there late in that moto. 14th on the day, Mitchell Harrison, 14-14. He's been riding much better as of lately. 15th, Lorenzo Locurcio, 13-15 on the day. Kind of a rough day for Lorenzo, actually. He'd been inside that top 12 in the last few weeks. 16th, Benoit Pacharel, who has had a rough couple weeks as well, going 16-13. Early in the season, he was up there battling with Guillaume, and Guillaume has stayed consistent, and Pacharel has kind of taken that step back here late in the season. 17th on the day, Shane McElrath going 19-16. Better scores than last week, but again, not really where we'd like to see Shane McElrath. We'd like to see him get a start and maybe run up there with the guys, similar to where Joey Savatgy was earlier in the season. These guys are kind of hand in hand, as riders, in my opinion. 18th on the day, Romain Pap, 17-19. 19th overall, Henry Miller, 18-20 on the day. 20th overall, Marshall Welton, 39-17. 21st, John Short, 21-18. 22nd overall, Harry Kulas, 20 DNS. And then 23rd and last point scorer of the day, Bryce Shelley, going 23-21. Shelley's in this spot every week, him and Scotty Verhage. These guys are between 21 and 23, 24 every week. So kind of funny to see him up there, but definitely knows where he fits in the championship. Again, Jet Lawrence did wrap up the 450 championship this week, his second 450 motocross championship. One of three guys to win two 250 motocross championships and two 450 motocross championships in their career, I believe. I saw that stat the other day. Really cool there for Jet Lawrence, and only the start of things to come. He just turned 22 years old. Really could be a GOAT type of career trajectory, assuming he stays away from the injury bug there. Next week, we do have the finale at Budds Creek. We will see Hayden Deegan try to wrap it up in the 250 class, and I'm interested to see what happens in the 450 class, to see if Jet goes and puts it out there, or if Hunter can get a couple starts and maybe run away with it. Maybe we see an Eli Tomac maybe going all out for an overall. I don't know. I'm very excited to see what happens there. That is all I have this week. If you want to follow us on Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify at Not Another Moto Pod. Thanks for listening.